Welcome to episode 2 of the Willie Morgan Show. It's all about this man that I'm joined with every week. It's an absolute honour. First of all, Willie, I believe you've got a few hellos this week.
Yeah, I'd just like to say hello if watching to Paddy Crowland, Dennis Law, Jim McCallagher up there in Scotland, Willie Henderson, and another great pal, Graham Souness. I saw Graham took a little bit of stick last week. I'm sure it's not bothered him, but if you're listening, I hope you're all well.
You mentioned Graham there in Andy Cole's comments. Quite critical of Graham. What would you respond to that? Because you know Graham pretty well.
Graham knows what he's talking about. End of story. Graham knows what he's talking about. So it's Andy shouldn't have said anything like that. He was wrong to say to get involved with something like that. Completely wrong. So anyway, I'm sure Graham will sort it out. He's very well capable of looking after himself.
Something else I want to get your opinion on. Roy Keane, another former United legend as well. He's received a bit of criticism or an analysis, you could say, of his punditry. People saying, I think he was too harsh on David De Gea. What would you say about that?
You know something? The one thing about Keane, he tells the truth. He doesn't try to tell you that what you've seen isn't true. He tells the truth. I rate him. I think what he says is bang on every time. I really do. I rate the guy. I don't know Roy very well, but I do rate what he says. David, he's had a bad time. He's had before the season stopped. He wasn't having a very good season. But in fairness to him, he's playing behind probably the worst defence in the league. I mean, Maguire the other night, Stevie Wonder could have gone past him and scored a goal. It was dreadful. You know, he has no protection. And he's been fantastic in the past. But it's obviously, you can only do that for so long. I mean, the number of times he stopped the ball with his toe or his ankle or his thigh it's not all saved. He's been unbelievable. But, of course, it catches up with you. You can't keep doing it. But his problem is the people playing in front of him. We just don't have a defence. It's very, very poor. So, yes, Roy's right. Could he have stopped it? Yeah, probably. But he saved us so many times. I tell you what, without him, we would have been relegated a couple of seasons ago. Without him, he's been fantastic in the past. So you got to give him a little bit of slack. So if Roy, you're listening, just a little bit of slack, babe.
In terms of United in football coming back, Paul Pogba's now back after being out injured for many months. How do you think Solskjaer should handle Pogba? Should they try and build the team around him and Fernandes, or would you still be tempted to move him on come the summer?
I didn't realise he'd come back. Is he back?
He's back.
Callum. No, not for me, babe. He's average. He's always been average. And the sooner we get rid of him, the better. And bring somebody else. As I said the last time, go out and buy Messi. Bring him here. Paul Pogba, not for me. Whatever. So, but I watched the game the other night, obviously, and, we're very poor. We're very, very poor. It's got a long way to go. I've said it so many times. It's 5 years at least before we'll be able to compete with the people at the top. So, but Paul Pogba, no. I don't know so much that Paul. I think it's his agent. I don't know who his agent is, but some numpty who's always, he's not going to play there again, and I'm going to move him on. I'm going to do this. Okay, go. Who cares? Go. It won't make any difference when he goes, I promise you. So the sooner the better. I think you can tell that I'm not a Paul Pogba fan.
Something I want to also talk to you about before we get to listeners' questions is managers that you've had. I'm always intrigued to ask people this that have played the game at a high level. See, when you had a manager like Sir Matt Busby, would anyone dare be late? And if so, who was the culprit?
Oh no, there was with Matt. It was completely different. You know, the worst perpetrator for being late was Paddy Crerand. Paddy was a nightmare. He was always late. I mean, we were invariably, you know, we trained at a place called the Cliff, and training started at 10 o'clock. And of course, they'd arrive and you go into the gym. They had a big gym type place there. You just start at 5 aside. And actually, the odd one would be late, but Paddy was always late. And he always had an excuse, Callum. The bridge was up and I got delayed. Oh, okay. And this went on for months. Anyway, one day we'd gone down there and Jack Crompton, who was the trainer at the time, came in and said, after training, nobody go home. Everyone stay. Because the gaffer's coming down, he wants to talk to you about you not being late. And we were, no. Because Matt never came to the training ground. Never saw Matt. He never saw him until Saturday. And so we knew it was really, you know, it was trouble for him to come down from Old Trafford to the training ground. Anyway, he came in after training, we're all sat there and there was silence. And I said, look, Jack's brought it to my notice that one or two of you are abusing the system now. You know, we start training at 10 o'clock. If you want, we can change it to 10:15, or we can change it to 10:30. And everyone said, no, everything's fine, Gaffer, 10 o'clock's fine. He said, well, look, you know, all these excuses about being late, about the bridge being up. He said, so come on, no more of it. But don't forget, if you are running late, don't be rushing and having a crash. And just like, and we just started laughing, you know. He was brilliant, you know. He was proper manager. I mean, one greatest manager of all time. And he just handled people. He didn't coach. He didn't have to coach. You didn't coach great players. You know, you just pick your team and let them play. Which is sadly why the game is what it is today. You know, coaches run the games, tell people how to play, pick players that they can tell how to play. It's completely different. But the rules, but no one abused, you know, no one abused the system. They were just little bits and pieces. But Matt was just fantastic how he handled things. So
I've got to ask you about Paddy Crerand in particular. A big character. He's been on MUTV and various other platforms for many years. I love listening to him. What was he like off the pitch?
Paddy was brilliant. I mean, one of the reasons I joined Man United was because he was there. You know, I was going to go to Leeds. That's where I was going to go. And it was only because of Paddy, because I was a big Celtic supporter. And of course, to play with Paddy Crerand was fantastic. And I'd met him a couple of when we played against them, you know, and said hello after the match. And for me, it was great because they were my heroes. The old Celtic players were my heroes. Paddy's a great guy. We spent a lot of time together, you know, socialising, going out for dinners and things. Just a great guy and a great player, obviously. Great player. And I still see him. He was round for dinner not so long ago. Him and Noreen came round, had a bit of dinner here. And you know, put on all the Irish music for him as he loves. So he had a great time, and it was lovely to see him. He looks well. You know, he keeps himself very fit. He goes to the gym almost every day, and he keeps himself very fit. He looks very well.
In terms of the listeners' questions, the first two are golf related. You'll be pleased to hear. This is from Damien Scott. He's saying, "Hi Willie, I know you love your golf. What's the best 4-ball you've ever played, if you had to choose one?"
Oh, Damien. I've been very, very fortunate to play in several. We had a regular. In fact, I played this morning, Damien. I played a couple of friends of mine, Goods Ahmed and Adrian Francis. And by the way, I won 8 and 7. just got to tell you, I had a good day today, so I'm in a good mood. So I played a place called the Mere, and we used to play at the Mere again. One of the four balls was Sir Matt Busby, Peter Collins, and a guy called Danny Curran, friends of ours. And we had we played 3 or 4 times a week, which was fabulous. The other, another one that comes to mind was down in Spain, La Manga. And my 4-ball was Bruce Forsyth, Bobby Moore, and James Hunt. I don't remember James, the racing driver. And I arrived there. I didn't know James very well, only met him a couple of times. And he arrived, he's got a big old station with him. So I said to him, it's a bit hot to leave the dog in the car, Jim, Oh, I said, no, it comes round with us. I said, no, you're not bringing the dog out. He said, no, it'll be all right, Willie. It's all right, honestly. And it was called Oscar, by the way, Damien. This dog was called Oscar. So we did a bit of practicing. We got in the first tee, and he just said, Oscar, sit. And the dog, a giant little station. And it just sat there till we all hit the ball. And then it just plodded along by the side of James. All the way, all the 18 holes. It was unbelievable, the dog. Absolutely brilliant. And that was a great 4-ball. They were great. Sadly, none of them here anymore. The other one was, again, it was out in Spain with Johnny Mathis, Howard Keel, and another dear friend called Harold Riley, who's an artist. If you ever look up Harold Riley, Google Harold Riley, one of the great artists still living. And that was a nice 4-ball. I had Howard singing, Mathis singing, and Harold drawing pictures all the way around. And I'm trying to concentrate and playing golf. So yes, I've had some great moments on the golf. I love it. I love golf. I play most days, and I just love the game. The thing about golf is you can never beat it, no matter how good you are. You can never beat it. So, yes, I love it.
John Higgins is asking, who is your favourite golfer of all time and why?
My favourite golfer of all time is Arnold Palmer. I just loved him. Why? I don't know. He just had charisma. He had everything. I loved Arnold Palmer. And I was very fortunate that the man I mentioned before, Harold Riley, painted Arnold, and Arnold signed a copy of one of the paintings for me, which is hanging in my house here. So one of my great treasures. I also Tiger Woods. I love Tiger Woods. He's I just love him. I think he's great, and what he's done to come back is phenomenal. I mean, it's unheard of for a sportsman to come through what he's come through. So I hope he carries on and keeps winning. So those are my 2 favourite ones. I mean, I've been fortunate to play with lots of professional golfers over the years. I mean, some great guys. And I hope I can continue to play for a little bit longer.
From golf to music now, David Mellor has contacted the show to say, "Hi Willie, you were my hero. Thank you for all the memories. I know you're a big Elvis fan, but apart from Elvis, which other artists do you like?"
Oh, David, how long have we got? Have you got a day? Elvis is the king. Elvis is number 1. I have varied tastes, from Rod Stewart, of course, Tom Jones, Jim Reeves, Johnny Mathis, obviously a dear friend. Finbar Fury, who you probably never heard of. He's an Irish singer. I just love music. It's a great medium and it brings joy. When you're feeling down, put a bit of music on and it does make you feel better. I just love music per se. But Elvis, the king.
Julie Hammond has said, "I loved listening to your story about Pele in the last show. have any other footballers you played against ever had that impact on you when you wanted their shirt badly?
I never wanted another shirt at all. The only other time I exchanged shirts was in the semi-final of the European Cup, as it was called then. We played AC Milan in the first game in Milan, and they had the star Italian footballer of that era was a guy called Gianni Rivera. He was an inside left. You probably won't know what that means, but he was an inside left. And after the match, he came over and we swapped shirts. So he's got my number 7 Man United shirt. And by the way, I've not got one myself. And he gave me his shirt. And I actually gave it away to a friend of mine, an Italian. And I gave it away. It looked a little bit like Messi's number 10 there, the number 10 shirt. But no, we did. You know, back in my day, you really weren't in the 60s. You didn't exchange shirts because you only had one shirt. You couldn't do that. The club would have fined you for giving your shirt away, changing your shirt. You didn't do that. It was only that came later on, in late 70s, 80s, where you were allowed to exchange your shirt. So, no, Pelé he was the ultimate. He was the greatest player of my time. And again, sadly, I gave it away. So, I wish I hadn't.
Kev Turner it's not so much a question this time, it's a statement. It's basically, I really enjoyed listening to you talk about Alex Higgins in the past. Could you tell us more about it?
Alex, well, he was just a very, very close friend. I met Alex back in the 60s and we stayed friends, became friends, stayed friends right up until just before he died. Alex was a great, he got so much bad press and a lot of it deserved, but a lot of it not. He did so much good. He did so much for charities behind the scenes that people, they didn't report on. He was a big-hearted guy, and he was just a good guy. He had no badness in him at all. The sad thing, if he hadn't got divorced from Lynn, I still think he'd be here now. That really hurt him. That was the start of the end for Alex when she left him, and for good reason. He after he won the second World Championship, he went off the rails for a little while. He got carried away with the stuff again, but just a great guy, and I miss him. Played a lot of golf with him. He's a good golfer, by the way, and we played at Mere with him. Then we played snooker afterwards. No, just one of the good people. Went too soon.
A question from Paul. Another question about Brian Clough. It says, I don't know why it's so popular at the moment. This question from Paul says, you said you'd rather play for Don Revie than Brian Clough. Who would you choose out of Clough and Jose Mourinho?
Stevie Wonder. None of them. No, Mourinho, my God. I watched the game the other night. I think 6 of his players were playing behind the goalkeeper. He's dreadful. It's just defence. He doesn't attack. He has nothing. Sadly, because he's probably a nice guy. I don't know. And Cloughie was a good guy. Cloughie was a nice guy. Just that, who would you play for? Well, probably Mourinho, because I'd be getting paid a lot more now than I would have been if I'd played under Brian. So, I hope that answers your question.
The next one is from Brian Smallhouse. Willie, you were the wingman, the best winger I have ever seen. Who would you say is the best winger in today's football?
Brian, Messi, if you call him a winger. I know he operates from the right wing and has done since he was a young lad. when I first saw him play. That's where he started. He's a genius. He is absolutely unbelievable. Even though he's not a natural, he's not a winger come winger. There are no wingers left in the game. You know, when the advent of coaches and Alf Ramsey's wingless wonders, as he called them. Mind you, he had the referee and 2 linesmen to play for him as well. Yeah, think about that one, Callum. The guy I like in Britain, I like Mo Salah. He operates from the right wing. I wish he was at Man United. I think he's a super little player. But there's no wingers as such anymore. You know, they play all sorts of things. 1 up front, 2 up front, sometimes 3 up front if you're lucky. But normally it's 8 at the back. So it's just a different game, unfortunately. Coaches have ruined the game. Coaches have ruined kids from a young age, take all their natural ability from them and make them into robots. And the sooner we get back and have the first manager who picks players because of what they can do and lets them play. And then the game will change again, and it will come back. Might not be in our lifetime, but it will come back. It'll just be managers, not coaches. So, yeah, Messi or Mo Salah.
Peter Clifford is asking, I assume Peter is a proud Scot when he asked this question. Willie, you were my hero. What did it feel like to play for Scotland?
Peter, it was one of the most fantastic experiences that you can ever do. I mean, to pull on the navy blue shirt and go out. The Scottish fans were amazing. The Scottish fans are amazing. They're just fantastic. And I think I've said many times, that night at Hampden when we beat Czechoslovakia to qualify for the World Cup, one of the greatest moments in my life. It was phenomenal. The atmosphere was incredible. So yes, it's very special to play for your country, especially Scotland, proper country. It's very, very nice. My wife's shaking her head here because she's English. I'll get a battering after you. You know, when I'm finished, I'm going to get hammered now.
The next one is from Stuart Burton. He's asking, was it hard to choose between staying in Scotland to play football or moving to England?
Stuart, no. I was only 15 and I said I was destined for the mines. I was going down the pits with the rest of the family. And I've told the story, I think, the last time. I had intended to stay in Scotland and to come to England and said and pick up all the money and come back. But it didn't work like that. And once I came to England, it was very special. You know, we lived in a little house. There were 5 of us in a bed, topping and tailing in Socky. And when I came to England, there was only 2 of us in a bed. You know, when you look back in those days, you would of course, I shared a bed with another guy, as we did. You didn't know any different. We, in digs, you shared with another geezer all the time. Same when you were on the road, you know, when we were playing at Burnley. You had a double bed for 2 of you. That's how you lived. We didn't know any different. So, no, I love Scotland, obviously. I don't think there's anyone from Scotland who doesn't love Scotland. But England's been very kind, and where I live now down Cheshire, just South Manchester, it's a beautiful part of the country. It's very quiet, and I say the golf courses are lovely. I would still come up, you know, I would come up to play golf and to come back up to Socky to visit the family. So it's the best of both worlds, I think.
Michael wants to put you on the spot. Very, very straightforward question. Willie, did yourself and Wilf get along?
No. He was a dummy. My wife's waving her hands. Wilf was not a nice guy then. Wilf's a nice guy now. He's a completely different person. But when he got the job, he went in his head, and not just me. I mean, the whole team. He fell out with Dennis, Bobby, Paddy, Nobby, Bestie, everybody. He, I've said again many times, the idea of appointing from within the club that Matt had was right. Unfortunately, Wilf was the wrong guy, that's all. And I mean, he'll tell you that himself now, I'm sure. But he's a different person now. You know, a completely different person to he was then. You know, if you met him, you get on really well with him. You're nice little guys at Alex. So, but at that time, no. I could have burned him at the stake many times.
Michael's also got another question saying, was Jimmy Rimmer abrasive? Why do you feel he never got a fair chance?
No, Jimmy got a fair chance. He wasn't abrasive. Jimmy was a good goalkeeper. He was there at the same time as Alex Stepney, obviously. And Stepney was a great goalkeeper. Alex Stepney was one of the great goalkeepers. You know, I put him up there beside Gordon Banks, Pat Jennings, the great goalkeepers. Alex was superb. So it was hard for Jimmy. But when he got into the team, again, it's when Wilf took over eventually, you know, that Jimmy got in. And he was good. He was a good keeper. He wasn't in the same league as Alex Stepney, but he was a good keeper. I think he went to Aston Villa after United and did all right, you know, did very well. So, but he wasn't abrasive. Jimmy was all right. Jimmy was a good guy. Jimmy, I don't know where this thing about him being abrasive has come from, but he wasn't. He wasn't at all. He was a good guy.
Another question based on Scotland and international football. Kevin Watson saying, who was the best player you played with for Scotland?
For Scotland? Oh, best player I played for Scotland. Oh, we had a lot of great players in the team. I mean, going from the fullback, Sandy Jardine, Danny McGuinness, Dennis, of course, Dennis Law, Billy Bremner. We had a super team. They were all good. They were all good. I even came up when Jim Baxter was still there. And another great player, Jim McCalley, great player. There were so many. And Jim Holton, big Jim Holton. He was a superb centre-half. We just had a good team. And even the goalkeeper, David Harvey, the lead goalkeeper. David was a super goalkeeper. So they were just all good. And we all got on great. We all played for each other. You know, nobody tried to hog the limelight, or everyone played for each other. It was a great Scottish team in a good era.
Stretford Enders have asked the question linked to Manchester United. What was your favourite match you played for Manchester United in?
Favourite match? Oh, there's been so many. I mean, it was playing at Old Trafford in those days, 63,500. And the Stretford End were the heart of the club. I mean, the heart and soul of the club. You know, I only scored one hat-trick in my career, and that was at Old Trafford against Queen's Park Rangers. It was in the Cup, and it was a replay. It was a night match, and I scored a hat-trick. And of course, I remember that because it was the only one I ever did. But just walking out from my first game was unbelievable, the reception. And from then on, it was just very easy. And I think maybe one of the other ones was when we beat Liverpool 1-0 and I scored the winner. I scored the only goal that day. That was kind of nice as well. That keeps in my memory. And in fact, it's on YouTube. You can catch it on YouTube. So I like to watch that one.
Mary Ann's asking, if you were playing today, which manager would you want to play for that's around now?
I would either Pep, obviously, but he's or as much as I hate to say it, Klopp. I think Klopp's a super manager. He gives them the head, he lets them play, and he puts players out and lets them play. I rate him very highly as well. But, they're not the coaches, and he's probably one of the only ones that, if you watch the Liberty, there are not, it doesn't look like they're playing to a pattern. He lets them play and lets them use their natural ability, i.e., why Mo Salah's so good. He gives him his head and lets him play. So either, Guardiola or Klopp, one of those two.
The last question this week. I'm really excited about this question, so thank you to Kevin Watts in advance. Willie, I have just received your autobiography. It is an incredible read. Would you love to do a film about your life?
Kevin, would I love to do a film? Well, I couldn't do it now. I'm too old. But there's been a couple of documentaries done. One in America, half-hour documentary, and a half-hour documentary over here in England, way back of me. I've never actually seen either of them. I'd like to see the one in America. It was for NBC, which is the national, broadcaster in America. And while they were filming, they came up and they filmed me for a week. And they took me on the golf course because they knew I liked golf. And I actually got a hole-in-one while they were filming me on the golf course.
Wow.
Only just me there, 7 iron. So, a film about me. Is it that interesting? Who knows? Be interesting to me, and probably to Kay, my wife, and maybe a couple of my family, and then, so. No, obviously, it's not going to happen. But yes, it'd be an honour. Obviously, I think it goes without saying for anyone to have that done. But I don't think it's going to happen. I enjoyed doing the book. It took me 35 years to do the book. I didn't want to do a book either. And it took me 35 years, and only convinced by Simon, who convinced me to do it, who actually wrote it for me. And I'm glad I did. I've never actually read it. I've got to be honest with you. I obviously know lots of what's in it, but they've only used about 10% apparently of what I told them. So you never know, there might be another book. I'll get Callum to write this one.
Absolutely. And in terms of the book, that's interesting that you mentioned that. We're going to do a very special competition soon where, let's just say, someone could win a signed copy, which is very, very unique to them, and we'll release that soon. Just before I let you go, Willie, I'm interested to put you on the spot based on that film. If there was a film, which actor would you want to play you from any era, if that was possible? From
any era, which actor? I'd probably bring Bestie back and get him to do it for me. Who are you laughing for? I'm serious.
That's tremendous. I didn't expect that answer, that's why I'm laughing.
Delighted. Bestie would have been delighted to do it.
Actually, before as well, I was interviewing Jerry Armstrong recently, and just while we were on, George phoned Jerry and said, would you come and play in a five-a-side tournament with me? Oh, of course, it'd be an honour, George, happy to help you. He said, and Jerry told me he got a phone call the night before from George saying, look, I can't make it tomorrow. Oh, no bother, George, who am I playing with? They went, oh, nobody, you need to find another 4 others. I've not organised the rest.
Well, he was a great guy. So much rubbish written about him and talked about him. George was a really, really, obviously a great player and a great guy. So don't believe everything you read.
Absolutely. And in terms of your golf game, Willie, before we record in a couple of weeks' time, looking to get yourself back out regularly on the golf course, and how's your golf game at this moment in time as we record?
Well, as I said today, it was good. I beat him. Adrian, I don't know where he's gone. I think he's gone into hiding, or he's slit his wrists, or he's doing something bad. 8 and 7. What we do with friends, we play for £1 and bragging rights, and the bragging rights are very, very important because that's really hurts when you brag. So Adrian's gone into hiding, so I can't brag it to him after this morning. So, no, I play most days anyway. I live on the golf course, and I can get out most nights, even just to play a few holes. But once it opens up properly again, start playing 18 holes again regular. So the course is in great shape, and I'm looking forward to getting playing regular again. I'll try to get Kay out. I'm trying to get Kay out to play. She's a better player than me, Callum. So, yeah, she's shaking her head. She's smiling. She is, though. She got better swing than me.
Wow.
So, but I play off 7.8. That's what I play off at the moment. So, not too bad. And I get the ball forward now and again.
Well, I have to say, you're looking forward to playing golf again soon. I'm looking forward to our next show together. I've really enjoyed this tonight. Remember, you can follow Willie on Twitter at the Willie Morgan. You can follow me at Football CFB. We'll be bringing you these shows fortnightly. And of course, as always, any questions at all, tweet Willie them, tweet myself them, or email me, footballcfb@gmail.com. It's been an absolute pleasure. Willie, would you like to just say a few words before we go?
Just hope everybody's safe and well. And thanks for listening. It's... I know I rattle on now and again a little bit, but I just hope you're all well, and I look forward to maybe tuning in a fortnight's time.